as a result of
Last
this.
resort means that you support this idea.
Well, a very, very, very last resort. And I'll tell you what, on this trip, many Pakistanis in the government, but then outside, to say, look, you know, if there is no system of governance where the police can actually arrest individuals, and that's my ideal. I think that's the ideal of many Americans.
So you met some Pakistanis who were also supporting U.S. drone attacks in Pakistan?
Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah, I think that there is perhaps even, people talk about, you know, double talk or things like this on the part of the U.S. government. It's not their first option.
Imran, if some Pakistanis are telling Brian that U.S. drone attacks are good for Pakistan, then why you oppose drone attacks?
You know, Ahmed, unfortunately, we still have in Pakistan this old colonial mentality, the slave mentality here. And they want to tell the Americans what they want to hear, not what is the right thing. Most of these people actually have no idea what is going on in the tribal areas. They cannot even distinguish between the various forms of Taliban. Anyone who now today opposes the US is now Taliban.
There were no drone attacks in Swat, but the situation in Swat is now becoming more complicated than Waziristan.
Exactly, because we did not deal with Swat, but what was the original reason why people in Swat rose up. Remember the reason why in Swat, the first uprising was in 1977. They wanted their old system back, which was based on Sharia.
Brian,
yes.
An advisor of the Pentagon, an advisor of the US Defense Department, he recently gave an interview to Washington Post and said that Pakistan may be collapsed in next 6 months. Do you see Pakistan collapsing in next 6 months?
It's a ridiculous statement. I know David Kilcullen. I don't think he's actually visited Pakistan. I'm not certain if that's the case, but if he had, and if he actually had talked to people outside of the bubble, he would recognize not only how inaccurate his statement is, but how dangerous it is because of the echo chamber it creates out here. But I agree with what Imran has said. The possibility for chaos in the short and near term, not a complete collapse, but chaos, and it's not even a possibility. For many people, it's a reality. We are in Karachi.
There is a chaos.
It's a reality. We were in Karachi the last couple of days, and you see these poor people who have been pushed out of their homes because of the violence. And everybody has talked about the Bajor operation as a success and other things, but it actually has resulted in tens of thousands of displaced.
What is your observation? You visited Karachi. You think that Karachi is much secure?
I'm deeply concerned about Karachi. I think it's a tinderbox for a range of different reasons, but a lot of it goes back to the base.
You are still concerned about Karachi?
Oh, I'm definitely concerned about Karachi. You see tons of refugees and internally displaced people pouring in by the thousands. It's creating a strain. Going back to this fundamental, and we forget the basics. When we talk about high politics and policy and diplomacy and U.S. policy, you forget that most people need the basics. And when you see these camps, these homes that people are living in, and the poverty, it's a very real threat in a place like Karachi.
I'm short of time. I will go back to your recommendations. Partnership for Progress. You have written that negotiations, we are talking about negotiations between the militants and the Pakistani government, and the headline is support negotiations, and you say negotiations are essential even if only to buy legitimacy for subsequent military action.
Right.
So you support negotiations for a subsequent military action?
I don't think any government that is trying to establish its writ and establish the rule of law should take any option off the table. The military and the use of violence should always be a last resort. And I think discussing and talking, and this is the problem that I've had with the Bush administration foreign policy, where we had this fear of talking with so many different people, and it actually undermined our, I'm speaking as an American, it undermined our national security interests. We shouldn't have a fear to engage and negotiate. We should have measured expectations in terms of how it's actually going, what changes it will result in, which is why I think we should keep all tools on the table.
Imran Khan, your final advice to United States of America?
My final advice to the Obama administration, where there's still a lot of hope, is that they must have a clear roadmap of Afghanistan. There is not going to be peace in this area. In fact, things will get from bad to worse unless and until the U.S. has an exit strategy. In the vacuum, gradual, pulling out troops gradually, but getting in troops from Muslim countries for peacekeeping to form a government of consensus. Pakistan to have a sovereign policy, gradually moving out troops using paramilitaries like the Frontier Corps, which was meant for the tribal areas, started talking to different groups. This is not Taliban is not one monolith organization. It is a lot of small groups operating. We are staring in chaos the way we are tackling it right now. We need to change the strategy, and we should have a clear roadmap. Remember, people in Pakistan will put up with a lot of difficulty times, provided we know where we are going. At the moment, there is no roadmap.
Your final advice to the Pakistani government?
Well, the final advice is we need a plan for us to have a plan. That we can't simply, to move beyond this do from the U.S. and give. We need to actually have a clear plan of where does Pakistan want to be in 2015? Where does it see its vision in the long run? And we really need it desperately.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Imran Khan. The main objective of organizing this show was to understand some misunderstandings. Today, Brian Katulis, who is a senior fellow at Center for American Progress, he proved that all the Americans are not like George W. Bush and Hillary Clinton. Brian Katulis said that Pakistani nuclear weapons are in safe hands. Pakistan is not going to collapse in the next 6 months. He also said that Islamabad will not be taken over by Taliban. And Imran Khan criticized US policies and proposed a plan through which we can remove these kind of misunderstandings between Pakistan and United States. And dialogue is the only solution to remove all these kind of misunderstandings. We will keep promoting dialogue in the future. See you next time. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.